So we're super excited to announce our partnership and sponsorship with Lost Articles Clothing Company. They're based out of Chico. Carlos and Garrett, those guys are super awesome. We are excited to have them on the podcast next week. They'll be joining us. We'll be talking more about their story and just kind of their backstory, what they're doing in their community, and all the exciting things they have coming up in the near future. So definitely stay tuned and watch next week's episode of the Peach Life podcast with Lost Articles Clothing Company. Welcome to this week's episode of the Peach Life podcast. um, it is currently Saturday morning. um, it has been a wild ride these last couple months, but definitely couple weeks. Last weekend was my wife's birthday, so we decided to take it off and just try to relax, and try to just get out of town and just have a good time. So we're super excited to be back, both with my podcast and now as well with her podcast. She's got 3 episodes now. It is called the Take Aim Podcast. You can find it. We'll have the links below. So we're super excited to kind of be uh, both doing that, both kind of working in our own creative lanes that we, um, really want to be in, as well as kind of both take part in kind of both of each other's as well, which is great. We kind of both play a really active role in everything that we kind of do creatively and artistically. Um, which has always been, a great part about our relationship. So that's been, super awesome getting to do that as well. We also have some other like really big news that we will talk about at the end of the podcast. So with this week, I just really wanted to kind of sit down and kind of talk about um, kind of where we are at, what we've been doing, what's been going on. I feel like over the last few weeks, like it's been a real whirlwind, and even with the podcast and everything, I've been thankful that we've been able uh to just kind of continue to keep rolling and try to do everything that's going on at one time. I mean, it's crazy how many uh things can be happening at one time when you're going through any kind of really big transition or move or things like that. And so, yeah, I wanted to kind of sit down today and talk about uh, kind of that process that we've been going through, kind of give everyone a sneak peek of what we will be doing on our YouTube channel as well, coming up here in the near future, and kind of just give a real kind of layout of what we're doing and what we're going for and what we hope to achieve by um, the podcast and the YouTube channel and everything that we're just trying to do right now. Um, so yeah, we took the week off, which was, or well, not the week, like more like the weekend. We took a weekend, and just got out for a few days. Um, and now the big thing that we have to do and we have to get done is we are kind of doing a renovation of our trailer. We basically removed everything from the trailer and removed the flooring. That we had a couple little spots that there was a little bit of mold that we wanted to address and take care of. So we took care of those spots, and we painted with this stuff that kills mold and kind of helps prevent it from coming back. So we've got that done right now. We just need to get the flooring back in, a couple little touch up paint things here and there, but mainly just getting all of the stuff back in. I just about 2 days ago replaced the hot water heater that had been an issue and then wasn't working. So I had bought one. It was almost like I need to look. It took a while to get here. Like it probably a month, maybe even more than a month. So that's been kind of a waiting game. So I'm really thankful that I was able to get that in and get it in there, and that it's working, and that I had no issues. You always kind of dread with something big like that, especially something that if you had to return it and wait for a new one, it's going to be, I mean, it's going to be just such a big, process and wait. So I'm really thankful that that went well. So we are really close. I think within a week we will have our trailer completely done and ready to be moved up to the property, which is super exciting. I mean, everything we've been working towards over the last couple months has just been towards kind of this day and this process. So we're super excited to finally be getting closer and closer. We've gotten more and more of our stuff up there. We'll probably have to take one last like giant trip of things with like a U-Haul and maybe like some friends help, trailers, a couple things like that just to get. So you when you go into these processes, um man, they're just such huge undertakings. So and it's been fun and exciting. I mean, for me, this is kind of right up my alley. It's like what I honestly enjoy doing. I like just organizing things, getting things done, getting uh just plans put into action and moved at it's part of my personality that I love. So this has been really fun. It also is very hard to not get super stressed throughout it. So you definitely like have to make sure with things like this that you try to take your time, not get overwhelmed because it can be definitely overwhelming at times. Just the magnitude of different things that are in play and that are working and that need to happen at specific times, and a lot of them can't get ahead of the other, and it's just a timing game for a lot of these processes. So, uh, one of the major ones that has happened recently that's super exciting, and I can't wait for the episodes to come out because I got it all filmed. But getting our backhoe actually running, we basically had an issue from like the day that we got it, and finally getting that up and running, working well. There's still a few things that I need to do now that I got it running and working well. Now I can actually change all of the fluids and filters throughout the entire thing. And there's a couple seals that I want to take care of as well. So I mean, it's not like the work is never done. I mean, that's kind of the nature of any of these things, and definitely when you're trying to do like a farm or a homestead, it's like the work is never over, which I think for me is exciting and healthy. Like I think I need that. Like my personality is so go 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 that to almost have like a good healthy life, I need to have a lifestyle that allows me to literally just go and have something to do, something that needs to be done or taken care of like all the time. So that's really exciting, as well as like to just kind of as far as family life, um getting away onto a homestead like this, as well as I think also slows down the family life to where you can actually get to spend more time and in better ways with the ones you love, and teach them the things that you want to actually impart on them as a parent, going forward, in life. So I'm just really excited about that part of our journey. So, um, some of the big processes is getting the trailer ready, and I have to get the trailer up onto the property because I can't get the propane company to come out and install the the large propane tank until the actual RV is up there and in place. And so it's like kind of one of those things where it's a race to get the trailer up there and ready, at least for us to be living in it up there, and then for the propane to come and get installed so that we can connect that and have, basically at that point we'll have three-quarters of what we need. We have water already, we have sewage already, then that will be gas, which will be part of kind of part of the power system, and then solar is coming, and that's like the last one we need to get in and fully set up. We'll actually probably already have the RV up there and kind of doing whatever we need to get by. until that comes in. And so, it's all moving parts. So one of the things I wanted to talk about too is just burnout through uh through any building process. I mean, like I noticed, even back when we built this studio here, it's like it took about, I think, 4.5 months, almost 5 months, to complete the thing. It really was just kind of slowly by myself, one trip from Home Depot or Lowe's at a time, um, you know, throughout like that long a process. But I remember the last month, it was October, and I decided to not smoke weed that month and do like the sober October thing, and just kind of like went into a zombie mode to finish this thing. It's like it was definitely interesting. It's like I knew I was so burnt out, but I knew like the finish line was there. And I remember just going into this like month of like just be and it was cool. It was very interesting. I know it kind of shocked my wife for sure, to like that she had never seen, I don't know, me do something like that. So it was definitely a proud kind of time for me, like definitely looking back, of doing something and just finishing something strong and finishing something well, and just completing this project, and it's carried forward. And it's interesting that like it's really carried me forward into the things that I saw possible that I could do, with my life, or that, or we as a family could do, and create a better life for ourselves, in the way that like we hope to like raise our family. And so, every step from there, and even like going back to like burnout, like coming back into this process now, where it's like we're so close to the end of kind of at least getting moved up there, and it's like you're in this last push, and it's like you just feel that burnout there. And you know it's just interesting, noticing that, and noticing you just need to, you know like push through. And it's like, because life keeps moving on, and then there's especially if you are planning that rest on the other side, it's like there's always that, you can get that rest. So, I know it's like for us in this time, it's been a real, and it's growth. Like it's definitely growth, because it's the more things that you want to do, the more things, business wise or whatever you want to do, it's like these times that test you, make you stronger, and make you realize you can do even more. And that, that whatever you face, like you'll have better resources and better mental capacities to kind of get yourself through those situations, and not get too overwhelmed with whatever like life and circumstance kind of brings your way. um One of the other things I really want to talk about is kind of, and I probably should have maybe even done this like episode one, before ever sitting down with even anybody, is like sit down and talk about this podcast, and uh what it is, like why I'm doing, what I'm doing. I mean, I know I've talked a lot about it with a lot of the guests, but I guess never fully from my own perspective, and never fully just like kind of sitting back and thinking out loud, like, why am I doing this? Like, what is like the purpose of all this? Because it's, I mean, and maybe it's like anything, you don't realize how big of an undertaking will totally be until you start doing it. But then when you see how much it takes from you, but how much you see the potential that it can give back to what you hope to give with your life. um it's been really exciting to see that. And I just kind of wanted to maybe talk about that, uh from my perspective, like the like alternative living, tiny living, using recycled things, doing things with communities that have, you know, uh to they do things different ways, whether it's like eco work or earth ships or different types of like uh building communities that are just trying new and innovative ways for us as humans to live uh in i- in maybe a better sustainable way for the future, or at least are trying to figure out what we can do. um and I think from my perspective, it's kind of, it all wraps up into all of these things wrap up into themselves, like whether it's like tiny living or um being environmentally friendly or sustainable in whatever you're doing or trying to build, it is what I know I'm going for. So I know for myself, and um it's just been this long process of like of living out of necessity and out of just like convenience, deciding to like live in a trailer and not even realizing the whole, I don't, all the other possibilities there are behind it, the communities, like all this really awesome stuff, like not even really realizing any of that. But for me, when we just decided to do that and then renovated it and just made it our own, this like super cool, amazing, like tiny home out of this 30-foot trailer that we just loved, and gave like all the stuff that we need, all the things that we decided like that were important to us, we were able to have, like California king bed, full music studio, like full desk, and full, like just all these things that like we were really happy with. And for me, it helped me see how much like less you actually need. And and then I remember, just hearing, learning about minimalism, that Marie Kondo lady with her show, and that even, just really seeing that like you can be happier with less stuff, has definitely been something that I've taken to for sure. And obviously, like it's interesting too because it's this weird mixture too. It's like we're starting like a homestead. Well, like it takes um a ton of stuff uh to do anything like that. There's just no way around it. Like you're gonna have a ton of things. So it's like making sure that for myself too, that I'm kind of being mindful of what I have. And you know what? That even that even reminds me, the other day I had the coolest thing happen, like the absolute coolest thing. So in this process, one of the things that we've done a lot, and we just had the time and just been able to, is Martina has been looking out like on Facebook Marketplace all the time for anything like good or anything like that we would need, or like the, like things that would be on our list of stuff that we would buy, but if we can get for free on Facebook Marketplace. So somebody like post like a bunch of stuff that like that we could definitely use, um that was like, it ended up just being like right down the street from our house, which was just crazy as well. But so I go over there and I'm getting some of the stuff, and there's already like enough for like one load. So I'm like, okay, I'll just take the stuff back over to my house, come back over and get the rest. So I go back over, and me and the guy are talking and just kind of chatting about kind of what we're doing with just all of this with our moving and the farm and the homestead and just everything. And so he just like, starts asking me like, and what was cool is, so he was a horse trainer, has been doing that like his whole adult life for farms and things like that, and ranches. And he just had collected all kinds of stuff over the years, and just starts asking like, oh, do you want one of these? Like, oh, here's a rake. Do you want one of these? Like, here's a shovel. Like, and just starts giving me like I swear, like 10 years worth of like what you would take collecting of like all kinds of stuff you would need around, like all kinds of farm tools, like like just the craziest amount of stuff that I could ever imagine. Somebody just being like, yeah, here, take this, take this, take this. You're gonna need one of these. You're gonna need one of these. In the generosity, like literally, it's hard not to cry even remembering it. It was like, is today Christmas or something? Because I can't believe this is happening. It was just one of the coolest experiences ever, and I'm just super thankful. Um, and just for everybody in our life, literally everybody in our life has like helped us to make this happen, and it's been so just such a cool, cool experience, and it's like it's life changing, like literally for us, for our life, for our hopes and dreams and everything that like we like hope for our family. It's like so exciting to see kind of what's happening. And so one of the things that, yeah, I talked about at the beginning of the podcast here is that my wife Martina has started her podcast. It is called the Take Aim Podcast, or Take Aim Podcast, and it's amazing. She talks to, so she is super creative person, painter, artist, like she can do anything artistically, but like she is just an incredible painter, and she's been talking with all kinds of different creative people, from chefs and directors to metal workers and other artists and painters as well. She's just creating such a community, and even before that, like she has been, for the last like at least a year or more, at least like couple years, she's been running the 530 Creative Arts Group. Um, and just has done such an incredible job. Like from my perspective, even being a little bit the outside of that, like I am so proud of the job she's done, just creating like a real thriving community of people that like actively talk and help and communicate with each other. And it's just been so cool to see, and I've been so proud because I've been like, you push it, like hoping for a long time that you would, step out and even take it like to even bigger community, and just take, that next step and put it out there for like the podcast or YouTube. So I personally am so excited that she's doing this. So sorry, yeah, we are having technical issues with one of our microphones. So had to switch over to this other one here. Uh so yeah, so just it's been great seeing her build that community, and just like going forward, what she's able to do with her podcast and YouTube channel going, uh, in the future. Just I'm super excited to watch that, as well as just for us getting up there on the property and finally just getting a moment to kind of breathe and just slow down a little bit, and just kind of prepare for the journey, to come, and what things we'll be doing next. So we are super excited to bring any of you that are watching along. I mean, a lot of times it just feels like you're making this kind of thing for your family to kind of see your journey, and for them to feel close to you, as you do your thing, farther away. So it's kind of awesome to see, um, you know, this journey. It's been cool for us kind of just going through it ourselves. So we're excited to bring you guys along with us. Thank you for anybody that's watching, that watches, every week. We're super thankful uh, for you. So thank you, and we'll see you next week.